Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video we'll see how to create a virtual machine. Then we'll create a small React app on that created virtual machine. And then we'll try to access this created React app with public IP. So let's get started.
In this session, we'll create a virtual machine in Azure. Then we'll set up a Windows server on that created virtual machine. Then we'll create a React application. Then we'll prepare a build folder for the deployment. Then we'll set up a local environment on that virtual machine. And then we'll access the created React app using the virtual machine's public IP. So let's get started. I have logged into my Azure portal. I have the free subscription. So let's start creating the virtual machine. So here is the option to create a virtual machine. So let's click on this virtual machine button, and then you will see this window here. You will see all the details of the created virtual machine. So right now I have not created any virtual machine. So let's click on this create button, and then click on the Azure virtual machine button. So it will open the new window, and in that you will see the couple of tabs where you need to fill the details while creating the virtual machine. So let's scroll down the window. In that you will see these project details. So in Azure, the subscription is mandatory, or the resource group is mandatory while creating any app services. So the subscription that is a free trial, I'm using the free account, and I have already created the resource group. So I will use the my old existing resource group, and I will use this. Then in that we have to enter the virtual machine name. So I will use this VM1, the AVM1, and then I will there are option to set up a region, on which region you want to use this virtual machine, but I will use this West Europe, and I will keep the default setting as it is. So availability zone itself, selected zone, and then I will use this image. I have to create the Windows server machine, so I will use this option, Windows Server 2022. Then we have to choose the size for the server. So I will keep the default size, but you can click on the see all sizes, and you can choose all the required sizes. But and you will see all the details related to the size, virtual machine sizes. So you can keep you can select any one of those. So I will keep the default one as it is, and then we have to set up the username and password while accessing this virtual machine. So I will keep the username as admin, and I will keep the password. I think username has been admin01. So I've entered the password and confirm password matches. So let's go ahead. Then all the first tab is done. So let's go to the next tab, disk. So here we use the default setup as is, but while doing just checking all the required data is correctly filled or not. So let's go to the networking. So the default setup subnet and public IP is already set up. So I will just use this checkbox once we delete the created virtual machine, so it will automatically delete its created content. And let's go to the management tab. I think it is already filled. I don't think so. We have to enter any data. Then go to the monitoring. I think setup is created. Let's go to the advanced tab. There are so many options you can use and then set up your virtual machine as per the requirement. Then I will just create and click on this review and create button. So it will validate all the required details is correctly filled or not, and accordingly it will show us the message that validation is done or not. So it is validating all the required details that we entered. So it will take some time to validate. So the validation is passed. So let's click on this create button. So it will create a virtual machine. It will start the deployment. So it will take some time for deployment. So if you see initializing deployment is started, so it will take some time. So deployment is done, completed. So let's click on this go to resource button. It will open the overview page of our virtual machine. In that all the details are mentioned. So if you see the resource group name and the operating system that we selected as Windows, then the size that we selected as default, so standard size, then the status, if you see the virtual machine is now running, the subscription detail, the location, and the public IP for our created virtual machine, that is 172.205.129 and .122. Then the virtual machine or networking details will be presented in this section. You can check. So let's try to access our created virtual machine. So I will click on this connect button. It will use for the RDP connection. So it will open the connect window. In that we'll use we'll click on this download RDP file. So it is started downloading. Just click on the downloaded file and you will see the remote connection. So I will just try to connect to my virtual machine. Then it will ask for the password, and if you see we have set up the username, that is admin01. So let's enter the password. Let's try to access the virtual machine. So now virtual machine setup is done, and now we are on our virtual machine, created virtual machine. So now we have logged into our virtual machine. So in that, what we'll do, we'll create a React app, and then we'll access this created React app using the public IP. So I will download all the required or packages in this virtual machine. So let's download the node. While setting the React app, we need to download the latest version of Node.js. So I'll start the downloading. So it will download. So I have downloaded the Node.js for creating the React app. So I will quickly create a React app. In my last video, I have already covered how to create a React app and all the required steps for creating the React app, and then will how to set up a build folder for production. So you can check in my previous video. So I have already downloaded all the required packages and I have set up the React app. So let's start the React app locally. So I'll do this np start. So it will start our React app on the local environment. So once that is done, then we'll try to access this React app in with the public IP on the virtual machine. So if you see the React app is loaded and welcome is printed on the UI. So let's go on the what we'll do, we'll create a build folder and then we'll try to access this build folder on the local machine. So we'll create a build folder. So for that I will use this npm run build command. So it will create a build folder. So and once that is done, the build folder is created, then we'll uh, access this in the local, and then we'll try to access this production build on the public IP. So I have created the build folder. If you see the build folder is ready for the deployment. So let's start run this build folder on local machine. So I will use this sub dash build folder. So if you see the local machine is serving with this on that this IP. So let's just cross check it. It's working or not. So I will use this. So if you see the welcome is printed on the UI. So we have created a React app and we have done with the build folder creation for the deployment. So access this React app on the public IP. So let's go to the before that we have to set up some subnet on the Azure portal. So let's do the required steps in the Azure portal. So while accessing this created React app with public IP. So for that we have to do some more setup. So for that purpose we have to go on the network section. In that network section there are network setting, and I just click on this network setting. It will open the network setting window, and in that we have to configure the rule. So I will create a rule. Click on this create rule port. So we have to set up our React application is serving on the 3000 port. So for that we have to add some port. While so currently it is 8080. So I will enter the 3000 port, and I will use the source and destination as any. So I will not add any restriction or the priority on this inbounding security rule. So let's click on the add. It will create a security rule. So now if you see, the security rule is created, which is listed on this list. If you see, once the rule is created, then you can see this inbound port rule which is coming on the list. So once you're done with the uh, inbound rule creation, then it will listed in this section. So let's try to the overview page. Let's go on the overview page and just try to access this public IP. But before that, in some of the Windows Server or in virtual machine, we have to set up or restrict the. There are some restriction on the firewall, so we have to enable the firewall, and then we'll try to access this public IP on our local machine. So let's go on the virtual machine one more time, and then click on the firewall setting. So let's click on this firewall dependent setting. It will open. Stop. Once we enable this firewall setting, then just click on this public IP. I will copy this and then try to access the React app on your local machine with this public IP. So this TTP VN or port number that React app is running on the 3000 port. So if you see, the React app is running, the welcome is printed on the UI. So that's it. A quick recap. So what we have seen so far. So we have created the virtual machine. We have added all the required details while creating the virtual machine. Then we have set up a React app on the virtual machine. Then we have created the build folder while accessing the React app on the with the help of public IP. Once the build folder is created, then we have added the network setting. In that network setting section, we have added a inbound rule. Once the inbound rule is added, then we have access our React app with the help of this public IP. So that's it. So in my next video, I will cover the virtual machine setup on Linux. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.